let's watch this Destiny debate that he had with a leftist on TikToker. So this is some high bar stuff we're debating, okay? They're talking about Israel-Palestine. I'm sure this TikToker contributed. Are they dressed as a Spider-Woman? I never watched the Spider-Verse. Is this the I don't watch many superhero movies. I watch westerns. I'm a very boring person. This is Spider-Gwen or something, right? Oh, she has the same mic as me. Actually, Destiny's in. That's a good mic, Destiny. That's a good mic. It's a good $150 mic. He's in for a tough one tonight.
Full propaganda.
No,
what
I
about
don't
that,
think
like,
so. Yeah.
that charred baby that you shared, that Ben Shapiro shared, where you're like, there's no evidence to prove that this is fake. I actually did find evidence of that.
You're telling me that the IDF bombed their own cities inside of Israeli territory?
That is what is being said. I will share with you a video. You can watch it on stream.
Okay, let's see. On Twitter.
Why is he? Saw somebody in chat. Why are you angry? So I didn't watch the Spider-Verse movie. I don't need to watch the Spider-Verse movie. I'm fine.
This guy's name is...
If you really want me to watch the Spider-Verse movie, you can donate the amount of money the movie costs to buy or rent. Then I'll use it and I'll watch it myself, okay? I won't even pirate it. That's my standard.
Is Propagandco.
That they were only armed with machine guns and small grenade launchers. That doesn't cause this level of damage. So then how did they...
I don't know how much damage grenade launchers cause. Do you?
I do not.
Also, isn't it known that Hamas carries RPGs with them as well? Oh, actually, interesting. Yeah.
That video is actually not the main focal point of why I want to talk.
I've said this multiple times. I am not excited in any capacity for Twitch streamers and Twitter users and political commentators to start participating in weapons identification. Please, for the love of God, you cannot make out what type of bomb it was from the whistle. You have no clue, okay? Hassan needs to stop it. Most streamers need to stop it. Unless you have direct experience with these types of explosives, or you're an expert on this stuff, or you can cite some expert who knows what they're talking about, please stop trying to do weapons identification. That's how Vivek Goswami ended up saying that the cartels had Ukrainian weapons, because he didn't know how to identify the weapons that they were using.
To you right now.
Gotcha. Okay, so you making weird references about how involved I was with my son or my son's mom's pregnancy?
I didn't say anything about your son. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I made that assumption.
Okay.
I was a little sincere in my efforts to build bridges between full-on leftists and the spectrum from SocDem to just like kind of milquetoast liberal or whatever. Like I was making jokes about, you know, brokering a peace treaty between like you and Mike and the serfs, and now my position is just, especially after Ukraine and now especially after this conflict as well, is
I held themselves. Yes, I agree, 100%.
Hello.
Hi, what's up?
What's up?
I don't know. I'm just gonna say this quick. My channel has been demonetized for harassment. I'm not saying Destiny should, but Destiny engages in rhetoric is a lot closer to that type of stuff than anything I ever say. I'm just confused. I'm not saying he should be demonetized. I just don't know how he's monetized and I'm not. That's all I'm saying. Shouldn't be demonetized.
What's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Okay, what do you want?
What do I want? Okay, well, this has evolved a lot since watching your stream and I first messaged you. I guess my first question is gonna be, do you really think Hassan and Mike from PA should kill themselves?
I wish they would. Yes.
Do you think that's at all a harmful statement to make that goes against, I don't know, just objective morality?
No, I think their deaths by suicide would make the world a safer place for more people.
He's laughing. He's not taking this seriously. How do you engage with Destiny, man? How do you get this person has no frame of reference for Destiny is, right? This is like a random leftist TikToker. How is he demonetized? I mean, how am I demonetized, but he's monetized? I don't understand. I don't understand. How am I demonetized and he's I just don't fucking get it. We should both be monetized, but if he's telling other streamers, like, you know, even jokingly, I mean, I'm just saying, I'm being persecuted. That's all I'm saying. I'm a victim.
But you disagree with Hassan when he said that America deserved 9/11, correct?
Yes, correct.
But wait, I'm confused because that seems like one of those statements has to be hypocritical then.
Oh, do you think if a guy murders 25 people and then he's sentenced to death, do you think it's okay to say, I hope that person dies?
I don't think that's the same situation.
I didn't say it was the same situation. If it was the same situation, I would have repeated back exactly what you said back to you. But I didn't do that. I asked you a different question. If a man kills 25 people and he's sentenced to death, do you think it's okay to say, I wish that person would die?
Has Hassan or Mike killed 25 people?
I don't believe so. That's why I said a guy, because it's a hypothetical, not involving a real person. It doesn't involve Mike nor Hassan.
But shouldn't hypotheticals be more like congruent or at least like somewhat similar to the original situation that you're trying to compare them to?
Generally, I agree they should, but I haven't finished my hypothetical because you haven't even
Okay, go
engaged
ahead.
with the first part of it. So I'm asking you, do you think it's okay to say a person...
The first part of the hypothetical feels manipulative, so I'm clarifying.
How am I manipulating you, or how is it manipulative to ask you? If it's
Because I'm
okay to-
asking you about how you feel about you thinking that Hassan or Mike should kill themselves, and you're talking to me about some random guy who's killed 25 people, and I'm wondering if either Mike or Hassan have killed 25 people, because then I might change my opinion of them even further.
They haven't. What I'm trying to get at is you claim that there's a hypocrisy between saying that somebody like Hassan or Mike should be removed completely from media or this planet, okay? Maybe via suicide. You're trying to say that if I have that feeling, I must also feel like the 9/11 attacks were fully justified. What I'm about to do is I'm about to make a comparison between...
By the way, okay, I'm just gonna say this for you know, my own safety and my own prosperity in the YouTube gods, that I denounce Rhetoric, Destiny, and I also think you should probably not tell people to kill themselves unless they're really, really stupid. Or ever.
between saying you can say one person is bad and probably shouldn't exist, and say another group of people don't necessarily have that same badness and shouldn't exist. I'm about to draw a comparison between those two things, because saying that civilians deserve to be terror attacked when those civilians didn't take a particular action.
I sometimes, I'll do the thing all streamers do, and I'll like name search myself on different platforms every once in a while. And I did it once on Reddit, and one comment I kept getting, and it was actually from Destiny's Reddit community. And it was okay, but he's like, his commentary is pretty milk toast. And I think back to moments like this, where one streamer says, I hope you kill yourself. And I'm like, I wouldn't engage in that rhetoric. Like, what should I be doing instead? Should I just be like, yes, in fact, not only Hassan, but, and then just like have like a full like list. Like, I don't know how to capture those people. Maybe I'm just a milk toast guy filming in a war zone. Like, maybe that's just my existence.
To warrant said retaliation. That's a much different statement than saying somebody that engages in harmful propaganda that is arguably leading to like the destruction of like the fucking world order that is contributing to that kind of stuff. I would say these are two completely different scenarios. So I was going to draw a comparison to show you how absurd those two comparisons were to Hassan's statement and my statement. But also, you could also just think that both are bad. That's fine. But I think we can both agree that they're different. Killing civilians in forms of terrorist attacks are a lot different than saying certain types of propagandists shouldn't exist on the internet.
So, okay, I have a follow-up question then, making another hypothetical.
Sure.
Hypothetically,
I just want to let the record show real quick, okay, because I will engage you in good faith because I have the brain horsepower to do it. You completely were incapable of engaging with my hypothesis or even grasping the point of my hypothesis.
I was comparing
No. I'm just saying, hold on.
situations that actually happened, though.
That's fine. I know situations that actually happened are called examples. My thing was called a hypothetical because it had not happened. That's what a hypothetical is. I'm just putting a pin in the map to let people understand that you are incapable of either understanding or engaging with it. And now we can move on to the next part. That's fine, but I just want to make sure that that's understood.
And this debate just started. There's no turning back. This is only going to go downhill. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know how to tinker with the cars and such, but this car is flying off the road at a rapid pace, man. There's only one way, and it's down.
Go ahead.
Okay, so hypothetically, if some streamers started saying because you were spreading propaganda that you should therefore kill yourself, how would that make you feel?
not only would I not give a fuck, because I don't care if people think shit, they've
You're pretty
engaged
desensitized to it by now, huh?
No, they've engaged in worse by saying that people like me should be killed. So it's already on a whole different level.
Do you have record of them saying that?
Do I have records of people who are driven by these content creators? One, saying where people
but
are
them saying that versus people driven by them, I think, are different things, correct?
Them saying it exactly that somebody should be killed? No, but them.
Who told me that this was an Israel-Palestine debate? Was I just completely yanked? I'm already hooked in. I'm not aborting now, but I think I might have gotten scammed so I could just. So a Destiny stan would make me watch more Destiny content. I think that's what happened.
Making arguments that fascists
It gets there 15 minutes in? Okay. I just thought that was another Taliban terror attack.
Are not to be tolerated, that violence is acceptable to remove fascists from these countries, and that I am a fascist. These are arguments that, yes, they've
Aren't you
explicitly
becoming
made.
just as bad for saying that they should kill themselves, though?
No, I think giving somebody the agency to delete themselves is a lot different than encouraging somebody to kill somebody.
Haven't you had friends kill themselves, Destiny?
Yep.
Do you think that they should have killed themselves?
Not necessarily, no.
Why do you think they killed themselves, if you had to guess?
Well, one got caught dealing drugs and felt like his life was over, and the other one probably had major depressive disorder that was untreated for a long time.
Do you think the war on drugs is bad? I'm just asking you questions just to gauge your opinion on things.
They're kind of shooting all around here.
Generally, I would say... Yeah, I would say the war on drugs is bad, yeah.
Do you think at all, like, the climate of the internet has to do with, like, maybe people making extremist takes that could lead to you saying they're being, like, spreading propaganda, they should kill themselves, or even leading up to them actually killing themselves?
No. I think that the issue...
Do you think that the internet climate has nothing to do with any of that?
No, I think that one of the big follies that we've made is the hyper obsession with bad words, with racial slurs and mean language, and a total abdication of the actual analysis of the semantic content of what people say. And this obsession with thinking that somebody is good because they don't say slurs, and therefore they're like unimpeachable, and everything they say, I think that has been the greatest folly over the past 10 years. Way more than a bunch of dipshits on 4chan telling people to kill themselves or spamming the N-word. Absolutely. Not even close.
Do you have any evidence to compare those two things, like which has done more damage to society?
Do I have any evidence to
Because I also agree that cancel culture has kind of gone to like extremes. Like there's a lot we probably agree on with that, but I do think it's not better. It's just kind of swinging the pendulum to reinforce statements like this person should kill themselves because they have a bad ideology.
I don't think anybody's killing themselves because somebody on the internet tells them to kill themselves or because they have a bad ideology.
Okay, sorry, anecdotal, but I attempted to kill myself at 15 because of cyberbullying. So
no offense, but if you tried to kill yourself at 15 because of cyberbullying, there was a whole bunch else going on in your life that was probably driving you to that than cyberbullies.
Yeah, absolutely. Like getting groomed at 13 from YouTube. Yeah, that absolutely can.
Well, then that is something else. Look, I'm not going to stand here and tell you guys that telling people to kill themselves is morally acceptable. Okay? Look, I'll be honest, when I'm off stream, like, and I'm thinking of like the worst of the worst people, you know, like some Russian propagandists talking about cities that need to be burnt to the ground and stuff like that. You know, I'll slip out a little there, I'll slip out a little there, start having a little bit of suicidal ideation on their behalf, right? But as a matter of practice on the internet, I don't think you should do it unless you're really, really mad. It's my same rule when it comes to like streamers sleeping with fans. Generally, terrible idea unless they're really, really hot, right? Like, I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that we're all humans. We all make mistakes and we all slip up sometimes. And just drawing out the scenarios where someone would reasonably slip up.
Contributed, yeah.
Okay,
like
so it was probably the groom. It was probably the grooming activity when you were 13, more so than randos online telling you to kill yourself.
Doing trauma to my family.
Fine,
I think it all impacts each other.
That's great, but I'm just saying that for you to blame it on randoms online, there's probably a whole bunch of other shit. What I'm saying is you might have attempted to kill yourself at 15, even if the internet didn't exist, assuming you were still groomed. And I'm saying that to blame it on like cyberbullying, probably not going to be the case.
But I think all of these things, like you're doing research on these wars, right? All of these things kind of can contribute and connect in some ways.
Sure, they could. Sure.
Trauma dumping because losing, not exactly. I'm trying to make a point with this conversation.
Okay. Let me give you guys a tip. if you guys ever debate Destiny, I don't know why any of you guys would debate Destiny, why you would debate him for whatever reason. Maybe because he's wrong. Maybe you need to defend my honor because he said I was wrong about something. I don't know. If you do, don't read his chat. Definitely for people who are not experienced with streaming, seeing the chat just like omegalol you 20 times after you said something you thought you were confident is can be crushing, actually, as somebody who's just getting into this like environment. And even if it isn't crushing, it can at least still like set you off, and then you start responding to chat instead of responding to the person you're talking to, and then you're not debating one person, now you're debating thousands of people. And if you couldn't even win a debate with one person, you're not going to win a debate with thousands of people.
Maybe when we disagree with someone, telling them to kill themselves or calling them a slur, maybe that's, I don't know, not going to improve the world, or and maybe that person in that high school debate is a little bit more right than you are, Destiny. Maybe the point of a debate is actually to try and bring people together and talk about things that are important to us rather than to tear each other down.
Okay, well, most of these people on the left are above and beyond debating. They don't do it anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter, huh?
Most of these people on the left, I mean, it seems like you're just creating this like huge division that prevents some of the people who might be softer and more sensitive to not want to contribute to these things, even though they have really good opinions and they can contribute to the world. But you being so harsh and telling people to kill themselves so flamboyantly, because it's not just Hassan. I've heard you say it to many people. You've said that you want Lav to kill themselves. So it's like,
Lav is not somebody I'm looking to engage in debate. This is a different type of person.
I bet you have talked about how smart she is. She's one of the smartest people that have been on your stream.
She is intelligent. Yeah, I'm sure Hitler was smart too. I'm glad he killed himself. Well, I mean, what's the point of bringing this up?
He's just fucking with her. He's not taking this seriously. He's just fucking with her.
What is that comparison? Okay.
Hold on. Wait. Do you truly have an incapability of like understanding a comparison? Do you not understand that at all?
I do, but
you just tried. You just said. No, I didn't say Lav was Hitler.
You seem like you like comparisons a lot.
No,
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize.
Hitler. Where does that come from?
Because you made a comment that made it seem like it was insane that I would want somebody smart to kill themselves. And then I showed you that that was obviously a ridiculous statement because Hitler was probably well above average intelligence and he killed himself. Just because somebody's smart doesn't mean they shouldn't die. I'm sure there are a lot of serial killers. How Ted Kaczynski or whatever was probably a pretty smart guy, I imagine. Wasn't he was like a fucking math genius, right? Also, well, I think he got life in prison, whatever, right? Yeah. So I was just remarking that your comment was really dumb. Didn't make any sense.
Which comment was that? Like
being
Lav,
surprised that
herself.
I would say that Lav should kill herself when Lav is also smart. Yeah.
I wasn't making the analogy that you think she should kill herself because she's smart. I was just making the analogy where you're saying you're unwilling to debate with her. But
can we get to like, okay, I get it. Destiny wants to tell people that they should kill themselves that he doesn't like, ever number of reasons, and this person doesn't like that. Distasteful. I get it. Can we skip to the Israel-Gaza portion? When does the Israel-Gaza portion happen? Does anyone know?
You have said that she's smart, so I don't know what that has to do with what I was saying. I'm not saying Lav is sensitive. She obviously seems like she's very capable of carrying her own. What I was like getting at was.
Okay, I think the overall point that you're trying to make.
Disagree with so much that it should kill themselves. I mean, you ate her pussy, right?
It's not people that I disagree with.
It's not
people that I. It's not people that I disagree. Yeah, hopefully after I eat her out. Yeah, that would be gross other's, right? It's not that I think that people I disagree with should kill themselves.
It's really gross either way. Honestly.
I think it would be more gross to eat out somebody who's fucking dead. But that's just me. Maybe you're into necrophilia. Okay. I think that. There are people that cause an unimaginable amount of harm in the world, and I can understand, I can empathize with.
Do you think you could be one of them?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think telling people to kill themselves does any harm to the way that people learn to normalize communicating with each other, especially when there's a lot of young people coming to your stream?
It's probably not perfect. Yeah, it's probably not perfect. Yeah,
it probably does some damage.
Probably shouldn't tell people to kill themselves in general.
But again, like this is also true. Like for example, I have this thing I'm trying to work on where in private I have been using the word retard way too loosely, and I used it a lot when I was a kid, and then I stopped using it. And the reason I stopped using it was like, oh, this is not good to use. But then I started going online, and then people online started using it like crazy, and it like slipped right back into my lexicon, right? And I don't say it on stream unless I'm saying it like this, like I'm just describing the word, because I don't want to like normalize that, knowing that if somebody's actually mentally disabled, probably it doesn't sound good having that insult thrown their way. but it's also a very strong and powerful insult, man. Feels like I'm just, of all the insults, it's a strong one, but I don't say it, even though it's deep in my lexicon and I'm trying to remove it because it's probably not nice to use, or at least not nice to create an environment where people feel like it's appropriate to use that insult willy-nilly.
General, sure. Yeah, I can agree with that. If that's the whole, if the whole point of you coming here is a woke someone tells me to kill themselves, yeah, I probably should tell them to kill themselves.
No, that wasn't even the conversation I wanted to talk to you about today, bro.
Hey, one of my retards in chat just said I could have the pass to use it, so it's okay. And that was my one pass, and I just used it, so I'm done. There you go.
So, that was a whole other thing, but I just like, that's definitely something that's been on my mind when interacting with you and your community. I know it's banned from your Discord to tell people to kill themselves, but you don't seem to have an issue with it doing live it on your stream. So I was just clarifying your stance on that.
Okay. Well, if it's in my rules, then you obviously not allowed to do on my Discord server, so.
Oh, well, yes, but I do see an issue with you doing it because honestly, the first time I really started getting into your content and finding out more about you was that video I saw you taking shrooms with Byron. So Byron's death actually was the catalyst for me being involved in your community. So yeah, that is something that kind of is like whiplash.
Wait, this person is involved in Destiny's community?
To hear you say so often.
How is it, why is it whiplash? Why is it, what is telling somebody to kill himself have anything to do with Byron at all? Do you think Byron killed himself because people online told him to kill himself?
I think that could have absolutely contributed to somebody who may have had BPD, which you...
Okay, we're skipping this. I don't want to hear about people's BPD and suicide attempts or any of this any longer. Can we skip to Israel-Palestine?
Maybe you should do more mushrooms.
Maybe I should say it. Tell me it. Maybe I should kill myself.
Have you heard of Gabor Maté? No, I don't. I actually love you, Destiny.
Oh, cool. Okay. Have I heard of what?
I love you. Have you heard of Gabor Maté?
I'm not sure. No. What is it?
Gabor Maté, he is a Holocaust survivor who is a former Zionist, and he speaks on the plight of the Palestinian people and what's going on in Gaza.
Okay.
He's a really important voice to listen to. I actually got to meet him in person at this Minds Meet seminar with Dennis McKenna and Joe Taffer. It was about like psychedelics and trauma healing. But I think he's a really cool person to listen to on this topic, Israel-Palestine, as well as he does a lot of stuff about ADHD and trauma. There's this book, Scattered Mind. I don't know if you've read any books recently, but I can give you a list of recommendations.
Why would I want to listen to this one guy give his perspective of history without getting a general overview?
He's a former Zionist. He's a former Zionist and a Holocaust survivor. So, yeah, he became a Zionist because obviously Holocaust was bad, horrible. He became a Zionist because he's like really passionate about being able to exist in a society where a lot of Jewish people have been heavily discriminated against. So he became a Zionist, and then he kind of saw how Zionists operate, how they work, how they steal land from people, how they oppress people, and then they, you know, decided, hey, maybe that's not for me, and he started writing books about trauma healing.
Okay, well, in that case,
yeah,
so wait, have you read any of his books?
Yeah, I met him in person, I bought one of his books, had him sign it.
Cool, okay, so you read one of his books, you met him in person. Why don't you give me an argument of his, or a perspective of his that you think might change something that I've said? Go ahead. Also, Chad is saying that he wasn't a Holocaust survivor. He's only 79 years old. So I don't know if that matters.
No, he was a baby in the Holocaust.
When you say baby, do you mean like 2 months old, or do you mean like 4 years old?
No.
What?
Either way, if he was 2 months old and in one of the camps, I think he still gets I don't think there's an age limit, right? I would even, like, in a way, here's a question. If you were a baby in the stomach of a Jewish woman during the Holocaust and you were in one of the camps, did you survive the Holocaust? I would say so. I feel like this is a large umbrella we can have for this, okay? I think this is a large umbrella.
I'm fact checking that right now.
Oh, okay, I don't know, but that's okay, go ahead.
Regardless, he did join the Zionist movement and spoke about it.
Okay, so tell me something that he said, or a perspective you've gotten from him that that you think I would be that it would be helpful for me to know. People apparently saying he was 5 months old during the Holocaust, or the end of the Holocaust.
I think that's still a very traumatic thing to go through as a baby.
I'm not sure. Can you be traumatized by events before you form memories? I don't actually know the answer to that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can have memories from 5 months old, actually. And actually, when you're pregnant, and I know you've probably never been pregnant before, and I don't know how good of a...
I think you can still be traumatized at that. If you like beat like a baby for like the first 5, it's not like you just beat a baby for like the first year of its life, and then after that it's like, okay, now we have to treat it like a person. It will remember it now. Like it'll mess up the baby mentally.
Dad you were to your wife when she was...
I mean, those early years are extremely important for developing mind.
Was pregnant, because I know you guys had issues, but when the baby is in the belly, you're supposed to be very careful about what you read to it, what you consume, everything, because the baby is taking all of that in.
Gotcha.
It feels that trauma whether or not it's like cognizant of those.
Is that true? You got to be careful what you read while you're pregnant. Are you telling me that I couldn't read like some old like greasy crime novel? I would only have to be like reading like Blue's Clues Adventures. That can't be true. I don't buy that. That sounds like some rickety science to me. I don't buy it. The Bible didn't say that.
Memories.
Gotcha. Pretty sure that's almost completely and totally debunked in terms of research. When I was growing up, I think
And
there was
why is the Western medical industry still feeding that information?
When I was growing up, there was a myth cited. I think it was called the Mozart effect. The idea that if you play certain types of musics for your child or anything like that, that it's going to make your child more intelligent or help it or whatever. Pretty sure the general research now just is like if you're talking through the belly of the baby or whatever, stuff like that, it can identify voices and stuff coming out of wombs. But like that's about the extent of it. I'm not sure if you could like call your baby like a fucking loser in the womb and it's going to be traumatized coming out. And then I'm sure that the environment of the womb, for instance, related to your nutrition or doing drugs or whatever, is also incredibly important. But hey, you know, I'm sure you, as somebody who's never given birth in your life, I assume, knows all about this.
No, I've talked to you before, Destiny. I have a 5-year-old child, but
See, when I get some man or woman pregnant, you know, as I inevitably will, by accident or on purpose, my plan is that I'm going to every night put my head next to the belly and I'm going to scream. I'm going to scream something along the lines of like, bring that over here, come over here. And then eventually when the baby's born, at the age of 1 or 2, eventually, whenever it starts to walk, I will use the knowledge of my voice that baby has learned to yell like, bring me over a beer. And he'll be my official beer and you know, soda grabber from the fridge. He will be my waiter for the first few years of his life. That is my long-term personal investment I'm having with my beer baby.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you didn't traumatize it in the womb, whatever that means. So
I had a very abusive relationship at the time. My kid has autism. I don't know if that's interlinked, but yeah, it was not good. And I do think it does have an effect.
Damn, you should have played more Hassan streams, I guess, through your belly.
You're making a lot of assumptions, and that's indicative of your character.
Okay.
I don't
You're right.
stand
I'm sorry.
any
You might have
political
actually
streamer.
been playing Hassan streams to the baby, and I just assumed you weren't. My bad. Okay.
No.
Can you give me an argument from the...
Hassan was not streaming back then. I actually watched him grow. You guys both on the Raj show, all that. I have been along for the ride.
Gotcha.
So
give me the pro-Palestinian argument from the one guy that I haven't heard before.
It's a pro-human argument. That's the thing. You framed me as someone. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention. You framed me as someone who's pro-Palestine. I don't inherently identify with that.
Hold on, wait.
I
haven't framed you as pro-Palestine.
Yeah, you did. I heard you right before I got on stream. This girl's really pro-Palestine. It was right after, by the way. I heard you talk about...
Wait, are you not going to answer my other question? I wanted a perspective. You said you read a whole book by this guy and you met him multiple times. So give me a perspective. Get me interested in him. Tell me something that he said that would like flesh out or maybe alter an opinion I have about this.
I just wanted to note real quick before I get into that, that before stream, you said this about other people, like Cherry, Darius, Lav. All these people are clout chasing from you. But wait, right before I get on stream...
Hold on,
I've been so out of the Destiny orbit, man. I never interacted with this Lav person. I think I've seen Darius streams. I'm familiar with Cherry. Apparently they've had a falling out with Destiny over Doinkin or something. Man, I've just been out of the orbit. I'm like one of those most outer moons, maybe like one of those outer asteroids, barely within the gravitational pull.
Random
said that about any of those people.
I
said,
did
hold on.
hear that.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Just to be, wait. Hold on. Just to be clear, I've said literally the exact opposite. That was one of my biggest issues in dealing with those types of people.
There's a clip of it. It's okay.
That's fine. I might have said it once in anger, but when in serious conversations, in serious conversations, it doesn't count unless you're a fucking retard. Okay.
It's
in serious conversations, no, you being retarded proves my argument. In serious conversations, when I've talked about Lav or Max or people like this, that's fine. But you made a false accusation against me.
My point is, you treat people like they're leeches, but you said right before I got on stream, people like they're leeches. You treat people like they're leeches, and right before I got on stream, you said you needed YouTube content. So who's the leech, Destiny?
First of all, if I treated people like leeches, why would I ever talk to randoms that come on my stream?
You do though, but I'm just saying it goes both ways.
How do I treat people like leeches?
All the time.
Give me one example. How did I?
Why is she using? Okay, I've been using this mic for a very long way. She has the mic backwards. I don't know why she has the mic backwards. She should turn it around and have the mic face her. I guess she has it on like the setting where it picks up from all around it, but you can have much better audio. Whatever.
Treat her like a leech by letting her on my stream over and over again. That's treating her like a leech.
No. What you were saying about right when you got back from TwitchCon, you were like calling them schizo, BPD. You were like talking about them leeching.
I don't know if I call her schizo. I don't talk about them leeching. I literally talk about the exact opposite problem. That my issue with analyzing people like Lav and Max is I can't believe they burned the bridge with me because I would have imagined they would have wanted to leech. It blew my mind that they didn't want to. I don't think most of the people around me are leeches. I think they're mentally ill. No, maybe my issue is I talk to
most of the people around me aren't leeches. They're mentally ill. You know what? I will affirm that.
Maybe I talk to.
I will affirm that, Destiny. I will affirm it. But I think that's also just true of streamers generally.
Cluster B people. I need to learn to like slow down on that. Maybe that's the issue.
Maybe you just put people in boxes, but you could so easily fit in that same box yourself because some of your behavior looks like BPD to me, Destiny.
Yeah, does it? Well, you know what they say. When you're a BPD person, everything you see is BPD. So who knows? Are you going to tell me what that author said that is going to like help flesh out my view of the Iraq-Israeli? Go ahead. Or the Israeli-Palestinian process? Go ahead.
Are you willing to like watch any videos of him? He can say it for himself. I could just try and repeat it to you, but I wouldn't be getting it verbatim.
Well, given that
I was just asking you if you knew of that person because he speaks a lot about this, and it seems like you're defending
Edmund, thanks for the $50.
Well, given that you argument, I know you were like saying, "Oh, like no, finger wag, what you're doing."
Rambling. I'm going to ask you the same question I was going to ask at the start of this.
Okay,
yes. You claim that you had read a full book and that you'd met this hero.
So the book I read, I never said he was a hero. You're putting words in my mouth.
I think you said at 5 months old he crawled out of Auschwitz through a field of landmines.
No, I actually didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth, and you seem to be really good at that.
Yeah, okay.
But what I was saying was I read one of his books. The book I read was actually Scattered Minds and another book on trauma, but it wasn't inherently based on the Israel-Palestine conflict, but he speaks on it because he has like eyewitness testimony to that. Have you ever been to Israel, Destiny?
Nope. Have you?
No, I haven't. But cool. I like listening to the people who actually have seen this and can see both sides of it. Someone who's a former Zionist who backed that movement, but then saw how flawed it was and how dehumanizing it was to the people on the other side who weren't inherently evil people. It's just what we're brought.
You know, I think it's good, and I especially think it's good. In fact, I think it's great when creators online listen to the people from the countries that they want to talk about. There's so many instances, Ukraine especially, where people just don't listen to the Ukrainians about what they want for the future of their country when trying to dictate policy on Ukraine or trying to dictate what the world should do in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. But I do want to say that when you cite somebody based upon that, it is a problem if the majority of the people that you're citing from, if you're saying, well, this guy is from Israel, so he would know. It doesn't help if the majority of the population you're talking about disagrees with you. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying that there isn't still a value in his perspective from having experienced Israel. It's just that if you're saying, well, he's Israeli, he would know, then all someone would have to say in response, which is why I still have to build up an argument that I'm waiting for her to make. For 27 minutes in, she still hasn't made an argument. I think that you need to do a little bit more than just say this Israeli agrees with me, because then Destiny could just be like, well, here's 20 Israelis that agree with me.
Brought up to believe this generational trauma that we all carry, that we're just feeling like we really need to enact this hatred upon each other that we actually don't.
Wow, that's so profound. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
I never thought about like
Destiny.
Israel-Palestine. We should just look at it through the lens of generational trauma. Oh my God. Like that's just like
Amazing.
everything. Wow.
Do you think that you spreading propaganda and humiliating and dehumanizing the other side helps with the conflict, though? More than talking about it through the lens
I don't think I've ever
trauma?
dehumanized the other side. I don't think I'm spreading propaganda. I'm just
I think
reading
telling
history.
them to kill themselves is pretty dehumanizing.
I've never told
I think you've
Palestinians to
spread
kill
some
themselves. I'm sorry, is
propaganda.
Hassan a Palestinian?
No, but you talking about like people who are on the other side of the conflict.
I wasn't
in that
talking
way,
about
and saying that they
people on the
should
other side of the
kill
conflict. I was
themselves.
specifically talking to people that I
Second, I got a tweet. At me, directed at me. Let me look at it. Sorry, Dylan, you were doing great on Ukraine, but anyone who opposes Israel's counteroffensive at this time would be opposing Allied bombing and invasion of Germany in 1945 for the same reason, calling allies racist towards Germans. You're a low-key anti-Semite. Why even put this at the end here? Look, you can just make, like, you had your point right here. Then I would have been like, okay, here's my points that I disagree with you on. For one, I can disagree with certain German bombing raids of Germany and agree with others, targeting production lines versus targeting civilian infrastructure. We could have that breakdown conversation of how we would morally and correctly engage in an invasion and an occupation of Germany, right? But I don't even have the game plan from the Israelis to work off of exactly what they're going to do once they've quote unquote eradicated Hamas. Very vague standard. But I can't even talk about this because you just call me like an anti-Semite because I don't trust the Israeli government to invade Gaza, take into consideration civilian casualties, or have yet to hear what their plan is after the fact. Usually when you invade and you take over territory, you're doing it for a reason. And we know they're doing it because of the attacks on October 7th. But until I am clearly told what the plan with Gaza is told afterwards, what you're going to do, how long you're going to occupy it, if you push out all the Palestinians, what exactly the plan is, hard to get me on board to give them bombs to engage in that type of an operation. And to say and to equivocate that with anti-Semitism is stupid. You could just be like, hey, Dylan, I disagree with you on Israel-Palestine. Here's why. Why am I an anti-Semite? Just I've had not a lot of people, but I've had a certain number of people unfollow me and unsubscribe and no longer support me because I have yet to say flatten Gaza. Because I have yet to say that I trust the Israeli government, which couldn't even defend its own country, how it's going to manage and occupy the Gaza Strip. If the majority of Israelis don't trust their own government, how am I supposed to trust them? Is that not a reasonable concern to have? Is that an anti-Semitic concern to have? Okay, well, I'm sorry. Okay, we'll be doing live viewings of Springtime for Hitler in the Discord. Very sorry, everybody.
consider that are engaging in like destructive propaganda to the United States, to Israel, to the Jewish community, and honestly to the entire like world community at large. These are harmful actors that are destructive in nature. Yes, it's frustrating. Yeah.
So do you think that you're also spreading harmful propaganda?
No,
what
I
about
don't
that,
think so. Yeah.
That charred baby that you shared, that Ben Shapiro shared, where you're like, there's no evidence to prove that this is fake?
Yeah. What about it?
Okay, so I actually did find evidence of that. I'll link it to you later because it'll take me a minute.
Actually, let's put a pin on this conversation right now. Let me know.
Video.
Yeah, I'll wait. Show me the evidence. Let's go find it. I'm curious. I want to see it. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. All right,
Okay.
awesome.
We'll wait. Yeah.
But it is records about the bombing in the area where those babies were supposedly beheaded. And there's evidence directly admitted from the IDF about them like doing that destruction. So all those charred babies were actually because IDF is like, oh no, Hamas is in there. Let's bomb the place. And then the babies were charred.
Gotcha. So just to be clear, you're telling me that the...
By the way, I don't think we know this at all. I remember reading like Jackson Hinkle's post saying Haaretz produced a report saying things including this that ended up just to be completely made up. The publication that he cited ended up quote tweeting him and saying you're lying about what we published. I mean, maybe she has a source on this, but I don't it could be possible that the IDF, in pushing out Hamas, ended up killing some of their own civilians. But I don't remember anything about charred babies being from IDF bombing.
The IDF bombed their own cities inside of Israeli territory, and that's where the dead babies
There
came
are
from.
also many.
No, wait, can you answer
accounts
that? Wait, can you answer that question? I'm just trying to make sure I understand what you're saying. You're telling me
That is what is being said. That is what is being
Okay,
said.
gotcha. I
Yes.
can't wait
So
for you
it
to
is also
present me
being
that.
What does that even mean? That is what is being said. You just said it. It's not just what is being said. You were the one who said it. You said it.
said that they beheaded babies, and then you posted pictures of those charred babies. So that was being said. So it is now being said that the IDF is directly admitting to bombing those areas.
Gotcha. Inside Israel, right?
It's very Trump, by the way. People are saying.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then also what I was going to say is that there is eyewitness testimony to people who were like being, I guess, captured by Hamas that were gunned down in the crossfire. Like in the battle between IDF and Hamas, a lot of civilians were killed during that by eyewitness testimony.
Gotcha.
So that initial number that they're saying, like, Hamas killed this many people, there was actually like a lot of crossfire and other things that were happening with that, a lot more nuance to that.
This is very quiet. Ring time.
Are you looking for sources right now? Is that what we're waiting
Yeah, I am. Can I ask you another
Germany.
question while I look for it?
for? Well, now you're spreading
Sorry, I'm song stuck in my head now.
propaganda, so I'm kind of waiting to. I haven't heard
But you
anybody.
said
I haven't heard
nothing can
anybody.
prove that this is
What?
false.
I didn't
You
say. I
said
didn't
it
say.
first.
Hold on.
You said nothing proves that this is false.
That's what I said.
Like what is that? You're showing it without evidence. That's spreading
The
propaganda,
evidence
right?
is that Israel posted a picture and
Yes.
also showed other journalists who were in the area. They posted stuff saying this is a
So
picture of one of the charred babies. That
Israel
is,
never posts propaganda ever,
okay, so so then a picture isn't evidence?
but Israel never posts propaganda ever. So everything Israel says is 100% fact.
I didn't say that. But what they posted is evidence. If you want to impugn them on the evidence, or if
Yes.
you want to discredit,
This is the thing. A lot of times, since Israel and Palestine are like the two forces, Palestine, of course, being made up of different groups, but these two forces are the ones most dedicated to this conflict. These are the ones with the most people on the ground, and they a lot of times are going to be the ones that are most accessible to evidence of war crimes. That means that on occasion Hamas is going to post evidence or could post evidence of Israeli war crimes that could be real or could be fake, depending on what how it's filmed or whether it's like true or fake, or whether they did it for show. Same thing would be true about the IDF in Israel, that we shouldn't just take their allegations at face value. We need to weigh the evidence that they present. And unless we have evidence that that photograph was faked or photoshopped or something like that, we don't have any reason to discredit it outside of the bias of the person who posted it. But that doesn't mean it's fake. That just means the person who posted it is biased and would have a motivation for it to possibly lead people into believing something is real that isn't real if it assisted Israel's interests. But if we don't have evidence of that, then we don't have evidence of that. And therefore it could be legitimate evidence of war crimes.
the evidence, then discredit the evidence. But as of my understanding, was everything that had been posted, nothing had been disproven so far. And there are a ton of international journalists that are in the area that are being shown stuff by Israel, that are going through villages and documenting stuff. I haven't heard of any of them challenging the claims of any of the atrocities that Hamas committed when they made the incursion on October 7th. I haven't heard that from anybody yet. So I'm curious where your claims are coming from.
Yes, I will share with you a video. You can watch it on stream, and you can look into the claims that this guy is making and decide if they're false or not. It's a 6-minute long video.
It's time to break this narrative once and for all. New video. And the quote is, before they launch missiles, they launch propaganda campaigns. Before they roll out tanks, they roll out narratives. Okay, let's see. On Twitter, this guy's name is Propagandco.
Well, that's not that guy's name. This is an account sharing the original video. You'd have to.
Gotcha. Okay, that's great. Yeah. Why the f would I waste my time reading all these boring ass articles when I can watch TikTok videos? All right, here we go.
It's a 6-minute video. Whatever.
Let's see. Here we go.
Have you seen
Why would
this
I
video?
waste my time reading books when I can read Wikipedia? Says
We
Destiny.
found 8 babies burned in this corner.
An Israeli soldier conducts an interview in front of a destroyed home of a kibbutz. He says Hamas fighters burned babies and then beheaded them, but this is all a lie, and I'm going to prove it to you using Israeli media. Yes, that is right, Israeli media. But first, let's ask an important question. How did the concrete walls of this home behind the soldier turn into rubble? Fires burn wood and other flammable items. They do not collapse concrete structures like this.
Children in the same room, then someone come and kills.
Is it made of concrete? In Ukraine, and that's my experience, because I think it looks semi like concrete, could be plastic. I have no clue. In my experience, I remember we interacted with homes that were made up of a combination of like compressed dirt and straw and like mud plaster turned into walls in a lot of eastern Ukraine, and those homes would be annihilated by explosives. I mean, absolutely annihilated. Was not a lot holding those things together, even though some of those homes go way back to early Soviet, sometimes pre-Soviet period.
8 babies burned in this corner.
An Israeli soldier
But
conducts
also RPG, I think, would not be, I guess, impossible here. I don't know. I mean, it could be a tank blast.
an interview in front of a destroyed home of a kibbutz. He says Hamas fighters burned babies and then beheaded them, but this is all a lie, and I'm going to prove Israeli media. But first, let's ask an important question. How did the concrete walls of this home behind the soldier turn into rubble? Fires burn wood and other flammable items. They do not collapse concrete structures like this.
Children in the same room, then someone come and kills them all. 15 girls and teenagers that put in the same room, 3 hand grenades, and this over. This is a massacre.
Now, the Israelis want you to believe that Hamas fighters did this, but we know that they were only armed with machine guns and small grenade launchers. That doesn't cause this level of damage. So then how did they...
So the first claim that I would take issue with is that doesn't cause this level of damage. I don't know how much damage grenade launchers cause. Do you?
I do not.
Also, isn't it known that
I mean, this level of damage is a lot, but I also don't, like, here's a question, and this is a question that I don't know if this is going to ask. It could be that those babies were killed beforehand, and then tanks and the crews came later, and then caused more destruction as they took villages back. For example, there have been villages captured by the Russians, and then the Russians are pushed back, and then when you look at all the damage to the village, how do you know who was caused by what? You don't know, because you see so much destruction throughout the village. Could have been caused by any number of factors. It could be that they took over, tried to burn down the homes, did burn down the homes, and then the Israeli army came, pushed them out, used tanks, and caused that impact. It could be any number of things. It's hard for me to judge it without having more footage on the ground or be able to look at it more. And even I'm not an expert at this, but I've seen explosions from tanks before. I've seen tank shells be fired. I've seen RPGs, like the impacts and stuff like that.
Hamas
But I'm not given a lot of material to work off of here.
carries RPGs with them as well? Pretty sure they do.
They do.
But okay, let's continue to go along. He did show the
I mean, it would depend. I guess it would depend on the RPG, because there's different type of RPG projectiles.
one video, so okay.
level of damage. So then how did they destroy concrete homes like this? The answer is they didn't. The Israelis did. What? That is shocking. But why? And how would the Israelis do that? Well, Israeli media has all the answers. They interviewed the IDF soldiers who responded to the Hamas attack, and they learned
It's fucking Gray Zone. It's fucking Max Blumenthal. Come on. Really? Really? It's Gray Zone. Max Blumenthal? Oh, release the internal financial data. Come on, I'd love to see Gray Zone release the internal financial data. How is Gray Zone funded? Still have yet to tell people. Still have yet to release that data.
We're citing Gray Zone. So for anybody watching, I wouldn't recommend anything from this website. It's generally garbage, but that's okay. He's going to cite this publication as Gray Zone, okay?
Soldiers who responded to the Hamas attack, and they learned something shocking. The IDF was struggling to handle the Hamas.
Wasn't this supposed to be Israeli? It says he told an Israeli newspaper, Haaretz. Why not use Haaretz? Why not use Haaretz instead of Gray Zone? Whatever.
Fighters. Tuval Escapa, or however you pronounce his name, a member of the security team for Kibbutz Be'eri, set up a hotline to coordinate between kibbutz residents and the Israeli army. He told the Israeli newspaper Haaretz that as desperation began to set in, the commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in.
Okay, let's see. And even though they were overrun by Hamas militants, how many resistance have been burned alive were actually killed by friendly fire? Oh, our good friend Max Blumenthal. Several new testimonies by Israeli witnesses to the October 7th Hamas surprise attacks on southern Israel adds to the growing evidence that the Israeli...
So is this how this works? Is just Spider-Gwen, this Spider-Woman or whatever, brings up evidence, just plants it in front of Destiny, and then sits there as somebody else makes the argument for them? Is this how this is going to work?
military killed its own citizens as they fought to neutralize Palestinian gunmen. Tuval Escapa, a member of the security team for Kibbutz Be'er, set up a hotline to coordinate between kibbutz residents and the Israeli army. He told the Israeli newspaper Haaretz that as desperation began to set in, the commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in order to eliminate the terrorists along with the hostages. A separate report published in Haaretz noted that the Israeli military was compelled to request an aerial strike against its own facility inside the Frez crossing in Gaza in order to repulse the terrorists. So they can do an Israeli woman named confirmed. Hold on, I'm just reading the rest of the article here. The military undoubtedly killed numerous Israeli non-combatants during gun battles with Hamas militants on October 7th. They eliminated everyone, including the hostage, she stated, referring to Israeli special forces. Is there anybody else at all that's corroborating these reports?
Let me look into it further.
Also, just because there have been reports of this doesn't even mean that house in question was shelled by the Israeli military or bombed with the Israeli military. Couldn't have been another type of weapon. But let's say for a second they were. Again, we don't know if when they were shelling and when they were bombing that house, if there were civilians in it that were alive, or if the civilians were already dead and Hamas was using it, tried to defend the house, tried to defend the land they had tried to take.
Okay.
In order to eliminate the terrorists along.
There's just too little information for us to be jumping to any conclusions.
Destiny, this is fake. Haaretz never reported this. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like me that if you are saying that. Oh shit, hold on.
I also want to ask you, have you noticed like say people like Jackson Hinkle, like that type, like jumping onto this and being like the main source of news throughout this? Have you?
Oh wait, is this the same one? Okay, for those of you who don't know, Jackson Hinkle posted about a report on Twitter from Haaretz, which is an Israeli publication, saying that it was actually the Israeli military that killed the vast majority of the civilians. And that the only civilians that Hamas really killed were just settlers with machine guns. But then Haaretz responded saying, no, that's all bullshit. This is just completely made up. I thought this was a different story because I wouldn't have thought anybody outside of Jackson Hinkle would have actually fallen for that bullshit. Is this the same story? Is this the same thing? Does anybody know? Is this the same thing that's being cited?
Have you seen any of that? I was curious about your take on that.
Yes. What about it?
Like the far right kind of just being opportunistic with this and spreading further propaganda.
Sure. What about it?
I was just curious about like your take on all of that. Because I did notice when like trying to find more.
Yes. Oh, then this is just completely bullshit. Then we were completely right. I was completely right for me to raise my eyebrow at that story. Okay. Do you have a link to that article? You mean not to the Gray Zone article?
Information about this, like how.
But again, I mean, it wouldn't even surprise me if the IDF did kill their own hostages during the period of trying to take back buildings and stuff. That wouldn't surprise me that much. What would surprise me, though, is jumping to such a conclusion about that specific instance where babies died based off of just the wall being collapsed.
How much of that there is seems to be a lot, and it's kind of hard to differentiate sometimes, as well as like a lot of like
Keep
crypto
doing the
accounts
beard,
and stuff
Dylan.
like that.
Well, it's not that hard.
Keep doing the beard, Dylan. You'll grow into a good one. I've already trimmed it, and I need to trim it a little bit more. I've got this little patch right here. I got to trim more. I gotta go to an actual barber to get my hair done. Actually, no, a salon.
At all. I basically ignore every single thing that Jackson Hinkle says. He's a literally avowed propagandist, but I also ignore everything that like Blumenthal or everything that comes out of like the gray zone. Also, I would completely. This is like on like Jackson Hinkle. Okay. Also, hold on one second. This is 6 hours ago. Wait, when is this video footage? Hold on.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving food? I like cranberry sauce, and I like stuffing, and Watergate salad. Watergate salad will always be the OG. I have a link to that Haaretz article. I don't have a link to the Haaretz article. One second. Somebody talked to me about getting becoming a contributor to Haaretz. I might do it.
Saratriot gifted 5 tier 1 subscriptions.
Hey.
Asterisk Saratriot asterisk gifted asterisk 5 tier 1 asterisk subscriptions.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My goodness. 5 gifted tier 1s. I appreciate it. You're supporting the channel through demonetization. It is a great assistance. Thank you. Saratriot? I don't know how to pronounce your name. But thank you for gifting 5 tier 1 subs to Arcadenia, Left Face, Censored Corn, Shirkron, and Large Hoss 45. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But here's a Haaretz post responding to the Jackson Hinkle investigation, which got 100,000 likes, by the way, saying this post contains blatant lies about the atrocities committed by Hamas. It has no bias in our reporting. 3.7 thousand likes, 100,000 likes. Look at the difference in reach here. These context added things do not pop up quick enough.
Also, speaking of news sources, what are like some of the ones that you think are most reliable?
Which news sources are most reliable? I feel like mainstream publications try to hold themselves the most accountable because they'll get the most blowback if they fuck up. And then there are some independent people on Twitter, people that work like in OSINT, like open source intelligence or whatever, that are interesting to follow along. Some people have good track records for it. And then depending on the particular type of conflict you're looking at, there are going to be different types of reporters or scholars who write frequently about it, and they'll have interesting stuff to say about it. But generally, you look for the people that report on it the most or have talked about it for a long history of time and have a good record or track record of talking about it. Destiny, that Haaretz goes to a Hebrew page. No shot. Blumenthal speaks Hebrew. Is there any way you can get that full article? I'm curious. People are sending me a video of Hamas members ambushing a random civilian car in Israel with RPGs. I personally don't know where this is from. I see that the camera says October 7th on the top left. I think that's the date, 10/7, right? Fucking, it's not written in American. And you see them like walking around with like RPGs and shit. Is this supposed to be in Israel? Is that where this is right now? Am I reading this correctly? Wait, hold on. What? 1 second.
How long are they going to spend on this?
On paywalled. I would appreciate if I could read that. I'm assuming this
Here it
is a
is.
tweet by Haaretz.com. I'm assuming this is the actual publication. It's got almost 500,000 followers on Twitter. Jackson Hinkle made a tweet saying Haaretz investigation exposes all of the Israeli lies from October 7th. It confirms that the number dead is 900, not nearly 2,000. 50% were Israeli soldiers. Most deaths have signs of being dead during tank shelling. No evidence that Hamas burned any Israelis, but burns occurred from Israeli shelling. No beheaded babies. Defiling of Hamas fighters' bodies while Israeli soldiers were taken with respect to morgues. And the number of people Hamas shot is less than 100. Most were settlers with guns on them.
How would an investigation even find out all of this information that quickly? And how would they have even gotten this information?
Israel has lied about everything while committing a grotesque genocide. Share the truth. So that was a Jackson Hinkle tweet. Haaretz quoted that tweet and said, the post seen in this photo contains blatant lies about the atrocities committed by Hamas on October 7th, and it has absolutely no basis in Haaretz reporting then or since on our website. So it sounds like, now I could be wrong, but it reads like Haaretz is saying that they have never reported on that. So if Blumenthal from the Gray Zone is quoting their paper and saying it was said there, it sounds like he's probably lying or something else is happening we need to dig a little bit deeper into. But also, there's tons of videos that have been linked now in terms of Hamas going into Israel during these incursions with RPGs, even if you don't believe the plans that they said they'd found that had RPGs with them. But I'm sure.
What rounds did they have? Did they just have like anti-personnel round? Oh, whatever.
You can Google and look at any number of videos. Okay, hold on. I've got a link to an article. I can't put this article on screen, guys, because I don't know if there's like dead bodies here. Actually, wait, I don't think there are dead bodies. Okay, hold on. Haaretz. Haaretz? Is that it? Sorry, okay. Okay.
Dylan as Haaretz contributor for the Middle East, Israel, and Ukraine? It'd be cool, I guess. You know, I don't really have any experience with Israeli media publication, so it would be a learning experience. That would be positive.
Right-click, translate to English. In the last week, we're going to read this article. Take me 4 minutes, okay? In the last week, a new and strange routine took shape in the Gaza... Wait, what is the date on this? Just to make sure. Is there a date on this? October 20th. Oh, okay. In the last week, a new and strange routine took shape in the Gaza Strip. The entire area has become a closed military area surrounded by barriers within which large military forces move. Among them are citizens who live in the kibbutzim and volunteers who try to retrieve objects and memorials from the ruins and locate and bring human remains for burial. From time to time, a small convoy passes by on its way to the funeral. In most of the surrounding kibbutzim, the army only allows a handful of attendants to enter the cemetery. We meet Toval Escapa, I think this is the person that Blumenthal cites in his article, and Roy Meisner as they are removing items from a burned out MMD in Kibbutz Bari. Inside, under the youth's bed in the room, is still the body of the dog of the 6 members of the family that escaped through the window. They hid under a bush outside, and there 4 of them were murdered. The 2 children, the young men, survived when their parents protected them with their bodies and managed to escape to the neighbor's house. Escapa and Meisner, I might be butchering these names, sorry, fill a box with toys and clothes that they take out of the room, dolls, plastic dinosaurs, a toy gun, and also the Iranian flag that the murderous terrorists left behind. Then the 2 continue to the home of a missing person from the kibbutz. The members of her family asked for an object from which DNA could be extracted, as well as objects and items of clothing with a...
Why the fuck would they have an Iranian flag? Iranian flag? I mean, I know Iran helps Hamas and Hezbollah. Hamas engaged in the attack. Why would they carry an Iranian flag?
A smell, such as perfumes and creams. The house was not burned, but the bloodstains and chaos indicate that it had taken place. Even before the objects reached the family members, they received a message that the mother's body had been identified. Escapa is a caretaker of the garden, Noynik, and a member of Barry's standby squad. Luckily for him, on the day of October 7th massacre, he was outside the kibbutz on the occasion of the bachelor party. He and other friends set up a HML to coordinate between the residents and the army forces. The recordings received from the besieged residents reminded him of those released from the Yom Kippur War. Panic shouts of where is
too good at debates.
Oh my goodness, 15 tier 1 subs. Jeez, see, this is why the Taliban... See, Hamas, you know, Hezbollah gets $750 million every year from Iran. It makes it the most well-funded non-governmental military organization in the world, with over 130,000 missiles, well, rockets, they can fire at Israel, overpowering its Iron Dome system. Next is the Taliban, and I assume 500 million a year, probably from Sweden. Serrated Riot, thank you so much for the 15 tier 1 subs. One for Inboyata, to Didi Shaimi, to Shirkostant, Moody and Facts, Jam Jams, Leonoid Shit, Teletubbies, Stoic Squirrel, Boone and Bruce, Soyanide, Gaming Props, Jingo J, Emerald Later, Birdman, Holy Poly, Destiny is too good at debates. Thank you so much for the 15 tier 1 subs. You guys have been really pulling out to support the channel with the demonetization. I thought we were just fucked. If I was going to be honest, my initial reaction to getting demonetized and them not overturning it was, we're just banged. We're just fucked here, and we're not going to be able to get out of it. You guys have really been helping me out here, and I appreciate it. Thank you. And hey, if any of you guys in Gutter Chat was in site chat, you could have gotten any one of those 5 tier 1 subs, but you missed out on the opportunity. Very, very disappointing.
The army, and in the background you hear the clutches and the RPG. His voice broke when he remembered his partner, who was besieged in MMD at the time. According to him, only on Monday night and only after the commanders in the field made difficult decisions, including shelling houses on their occupants in order to eliminate the terrorists without knowing whether the Israelis in those buildings were alive or dead, the IDF completed the takeover of the kibbutz. The cost of the Hamas attack was terrible. At least 112 Berry residents were killed. Others were kidnapped. Yesterday, 11 days after the massacre, the bodies of a mother and her son were discovered in one of the destroyed houses. It's believed that more bodies are lying in the rubble still. Since Tuesday, Escapa and the team of the re-established emergency squad, after most of its members died in the battle, have taken on the task of rescuing the objects in the houses. There are normal assignments and there are sensitive assignments, he says. The first type include items such as hearing aids, shoes, clothes, ID cards, and passports, toys, or pots. The second type includes, for example, a family for whom, okay, these are his items that they got, scrolling down a little bit more. According to him, we are still missing many pieces of the puzzle. My friend saved his 2 children. He hid them under the bed and opened the emergency room and stood for them to take care of them. They murdered him, but I wanted to know if they shot him in the face. Did the children hear it? Luckily for me, luckily for them. Probably didn't happen to them. It's a little comforting. Perhaps comforting is not the right word. He adds that there were families who said that there was no chance he would find anything in their homes, but he's still looking. Even small things, even a pot or object of some child, some toy. I was in contact with a classmate of mine whose mother is missing. I found 2 albums. Now she's blah. I see the stains are still bleeding. You see where they were dragged and where they were shot. Nobody wants to see it. We were in a group of people with a strong soul. I don't think I'm different from anybody else. The other day, let's see, MK Simcha Rothman came to visit the kibbutz. Escapa shouted at him and almost physically drove him out of the place. I took off my sunglasses and said, look at me in the eyes. How dare you come here? Fly off. You have blood in your hands. It's on you and your friend. He came to put his hand on my shoulder. I screamed at him. You have murdered too many people here. I don't remember myself like that. I was sure I'd beat him. Let them not come on a political tour when they, when
Dylan, have you had MREs over there? Yes, and they were good. I was surprised. I enjoyed it, man. It was like, man, it was good. It was like chicken and corn. It was good, man. I was surprised. But it varies. It varies. It depends, like, if you have a good little, if you have like a good, if you got good stuff, you got old stuff. It all depends, man. You're playing roulette when you're trying those MREs out, because Ukraine gets them from everywhere.
When they massacred us for 6 hours? He didn't, I'm guessing there's like a translation difficulty. He didn't dare look up at me. Near the entrance of Kibbutz Rhyme, we meet...
What's the worst ones? Anything that's expired, probably. I know that the Russians eat expired ones. Haven't seen the Ukrainians eating expired ones yet.
DD_the_Shmee gifted 2 tier 1 subscriptions. I got gifted a sub, so I needed to pay it forward.
Hey, look
Dylan
at that.
is great.
Aw, that Dylan guy. Oh, I like him. And you like him too, so you gave him money. I appreciate
Burns
it.
is an immoral,
but for real, thank you.
Corrupt,
and hey, Kendrick Lama with the tier 1 sub, being sub for 6 months in Twitch, also known as Gutter Chat, more colloquially. Thank you. DD, Kendrick, everybody today has been $1,000 donation earlier. We have been, thank you everybody for supporting the channel through all this shit. It really is appreciative.
Meyer, Beryl, and other...
Okay, we get the idea. Can we skip past this article and like hear what she has to say about it? We get it. We get it. We get it. It is not known that those babies that died in there were killed by the Israeli military. Okay, so when does she talk?
Because I was already dead. Fortunately, the terrorists skipped the room where the group was in. Okay, okay, this is the end here. Survivors and refugees, everything that was about anything that was being said in the this article does not support anything that was being said in the Jackson Hinkle tweet, and definitely does not support anything being said in the video.
Okay.
It sounds like there's one line in here.
It does sound like it is blurred, though.
No, it
they
doesn't.
Did clarify
no,
that.
it doesn't.
Does say you read that out loud.
I did read it. There is a line.
The closest there's like 1 or 2 lines in here that says the Israeli military had to make the tough decision to shell houses without complete knowledge on if there were still civilians alive or dead in them because they were occupied by Hamas. That does not mean that the photo or the video of that one Israeli government official in one of the buildings saying babies in here were killed by Hamas, that they weren't. That's all speculation.
line in here where he says that when terrorists were occupying some buildings, that decisions had to be made to like fire on these, not knowing there might have been people inside. But that was a civilian commenting, right, who was talking to IDF people, okay? There's no verification that there were civilians killed by the IDF. There's no other mention of this, of the IDF mass bombing their village. There's no indication here that that statement isn't even treated with severity, right? Like, you realize that in an article like this, that like if a serious claim was being levied that the IDF was killing its own civilians, it probably wouldn't be one throwaway line in this article. Do you understand that? Also, I don't know this, but I could be missing some of the context of that person's statement because I'm translating from Hebrew and I'm using an auto translator.
Yeah.
However,
yeah, for sure.
as somebody that is media literate and as somebody that's read a ton of articles, it would be really strange to me that there is a line in here that the IDF is contributing to a significant amount of civilian death in their own lands, and that would be one throwaway line in this article, and that Haaretz themselves would tweet out saying that no part of Jackson Hinkle's tweet that is claiming what you're claiming is true, or that guy in the TikTok video is claiming it's true, that they say it's false.
I don't necessarily agree with Jackson Hinkle. He's a big red flag for me. So I don't take me sharing what you're asking me to share like with you as like that's what I believe.
Gotcha.
I'm just trying to clear up the narrative for everybody. So
she should stick to fighting crime and not debating on the internet. This Spider-Woman person, I think.
Yeah.
Not the way to go.
I'm not as biased as you might think I am.
That's fine. I'm not saying you're biased. Well, you are biased. It's mainly a claim about how stupid you're being. Okay. When you came here, when you came into this conversation, one of your initial questions that you asked towards me almost seems self-evident to you. Wouldn't you talk to people there, or wouldn't you like confer with like a Palestinian or even an Israeli about what happened before doing your own research?
Are you on
Stuff
Adderall
like
right now?
this, that question doesn't even make sense. Adderall makes me way more calm than not being on Adderall. So your question doesn't make sense.
I know what Adderall does.
I don't know what drugs you take or if you're even prescribed or what you do. I don't care, but I'm just saying your comment didn't make sense like most of the comments you made tonight, okay? But
Jesus Christ, Destiny is in the mode. I don't know what it was. Some nights Destiny's just sharp, and this was not a discussion where he needed to be particularly sharp for. This was he's like, he is like on point. He's like turning like right on the turns perfectly. Like, but it's not even a conversation that requires it. And honestly, I would say he's almost putting in too much effort.
It's like you're coming off very intense and you're making a lot of assumptions, and I see that you are very amplified,
yes,
but it's like
amped.
you're not necessarily representing what I'm actually saying.
Hold on. I'm literally quoting back at you. First of all, I am amped about this because the more I learn about a situation, usually the more irritated I get about misinformation. Ukraine-Russia was another one of these. This is becoming another one of them for me, okay?
Which is why I'm irritated that you don't know who Gabor Maté is, because he's a very important voice to listen to.
If he's writing alternative health books on trauma, he probably has fuck all to say about Israel-Palestine. That's just my guess. That's just my guess, okay?
How many books have you read on Destiny?
However, my autobiography, I reread it every single day and I add a new sentence to it, okay? I can't wait for the...
Sorry.
Yes, I can't wait to write the passage for today, okay?
You need a hug?
So what you're doing right now and what you've engaged in right now is exactly the reason why I don't engage in this type of research.
So,
why I won't find a random video of some guy, I don't even know if this guy's Palestinian or not, why I won't find a video of some guy to give me a greatest hits compilation of highlighted quotes from the gray zone to tell me how I should feel about this. This is why I prefer to read several news articles, get acquainted with the history, and then go through reputable accounts on Twitter or first or second hand reports from international media to find out what's true. Because it's already taken me 20 minutes to go through the first claim in this video to see that the claim is basically entirely bullshit.
So that video is actually not the main focal point of why I want to talk to you right now.
Gotcha. Okay, well, hold on. Instead of giving like side bullshit, instead of the one guy you cited that you haven't read any books about the conflict or you can't tell me anything you said about the conflict, instead of giving me this random...
He hasn't written books on the conflict, but he recommended them, and you're making assumptions again, Destiny, and we would have a much more productive conversation if you'd actually listen to what I'm trying to tell you.
So don't link me stuff that you don't care about. Okay, I'm not going to assume.
I do care about it, but I actually want to link you something that I care about more, that is actually more of a personal topic for both of us.
Okay. Wait, so we're done talking about Israel-Palestine then, or?
We are talking about that because it all does connect in a way, in my opinion.
Okay,
Dylan, I wish you talked more on kick or keep. Number one, my internet was shit and sabotaged by that. But the most of the conversation, I didn't even feel was not only not interesting, but was not engaging in what I thought we were going to engage in. I thought we were going to talk about the invasion of Gaza, but we only really got to talk about that in detail after the main debate had finished and Q had left. And that is where I think we had the most productive conversation. I feel like that, like, I wanted to get into the prescriptive conversation. Like, what should we do, right? Less than instead of talking about, like, the Balfour Declaration or, like, you know, the War of 1948. I'm not saying that these are important things. Just saying that the reason we're talking about this is because of a effective Israeli invasion of the Gaza Strip. We should talk a little bit about that invasion.
That's actually what Gabor Maté talks about. You should really listen to him sometime.
Yeah.
So you said that there's no way that Byron could have been like impacted by things people were saying online.
I said that it seems super not relevant to the entirety of his life.
So could you please play the video I just sent you on
I'm not going to play videos of Byron
crying when someone's telling him to kill himself and he's trying to reason with them and say, hey, I'm a human on the other end of this. You don't think that's relevant to people committing suicide online and you so regularly telling people to kill themselves?
Nope, I don't. I really don't.
Which then normalizes that behavior for your entire audience, some of which are underage.
Well,
you don't think the video of Reckful crying, saying, hey, please stop telling me to kill myself. Like, why are you doing that? That really hurts me. You think that because you're not sensitive, that other people who are sensitive should just, like, fuck off?
If you're sensitive, listen, if you're sensitive, you probably shouldn't be doing...
Did you consider Byron a friend of yours?
I did. That's why I know him better than you ever have, and at this point, ever will, unless you find a way to travel back into the past, which was really fucking strange that you're trying to talk to me. Although I understand it's really common that cluster B people think that they're ultimately empaths that can read everybody else's emotions, even the dead. Okay, somehow you're able to do that, okay?
Have you seen this clip before?
Yes, I have. I'm familiar with the issues that Byron had with online communities. Byron's mental health issues, him taking 2 grams of mushrooms a day for months, okay? Him cycling through all sorts of crazy treatments to figure out how to treat his shit. I don't think it had to do as much with online bullying. I think that he had severe mental issues.
You don't think it had any impact?
2 grams of mushrooms a day for months? That is wild. Why did he do that? Why would he?
Saratriot gifted 20 tier 1 subscriptions. I'm crashing. Have a good night.
Well, damn. You know what? Sleep well. Sweet cherry. No, swing low, sweet cherry. No. Sleep well. Thank you so much for the 20 gifted tier 1 subs. This is how we get through demonetization. This is how we fund freelance journalism. This is how we fund real independent media. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Giving it 20 tier 1 subs to Runaway Train, Arcanon, Perpetually Wrong, McLeod, Hug 22, Sega Saturn Dude, Slippers, Junk Prime, Will from PA. Oh, PA, don't dox. Fabry, Really Uncomfortable, Non-Smoker. Really, Non-Smoker. I didn't know he was on my website. Oh, that's interesting. Iraktar, Can't Find a Name I Like, Adzu, Worship Site, and Badger Tide, Thick Bonkus. Man, 20 gifted tier 1s. If you guys are in like Momomo, Kendrick Lama, Jay Chosen, you know, good chatters in gutter chat that could have gotten these gifted subs, but have decided to stay in the gutter. Very disappointing. Can we be done with this? Can we be done with this? Do you guys need to hear a second more of this? Do we need to hear Destiny talk to this girl, but a friend he knows who killed himself? Do we need to listen to this? They're done talking about Israel-Palestine. She cited like a single TikTok and then it immediately fell apart. We don't need to listen to this, okay?